Hey y'all, and welcome to BRAWL. My name is Brian, and Charles Payne and Jessica Tarlov just get into it because Democrat Dean Phillips dared to cross the aisle and discover that MAGA Republicans are simply just normal people. This isn't going to end well for her.
Someone punches you, you punch him back harder. That's why I grew up in Harlem.
Not if the country's at stake, right?
He won. He became president of the United States with that same personality. I don't think that, listen, I think it's worse with Biden calling MAGA. Biden's anger and vitriol and hatred for MAGA is far more worse than President Trump's individual battles with someone who crosses him. That is something that is really detrimental to this country, that the president of the United States despises half of the United States. President Biden, I said earlier today, about a week ago, I had a segment coming up, so I Googled Biden hates MAGA. Nothing but articles after articles after articles. He has expressed hatred for half of the country.
Those articles?
It doesn't matter. Look
and it's
at
not.
him. Because the bottom line is he says it. He has vitriol for them. And so does MSNBC, and so does CNN, and so does the New York Times. They have vitriol for half of the nation. They don't look at them like fellow Americans, and it's unfortunate. They try to paint them as racist. That all the things that they do to their fellow Americans who simply want a safe home, a safe community, for the children to have prosperity. They want the same thing, but they demean them all the time. That's why I think Phillips was so intriguing, because he went to a rally to find out for himself. And guess what? Golly, these are some pretty cool people. They're just like us.
I went to a Donald Trump rally a couple nights ago. Never been to one. I had an event across the street. I saw the line of people waiting in the cold for hours. And I thought, what the heck? I'm going to be a leader who actually invites people, doesn't condemn them. Met probably 50 Trump people waiting in line, every single one of them thoughtful, hospitable, friendly, all of them so frustrated that they feel nobody's listening to them but Donald Trump. A diverse crowd, people who had never been to a Trump event before. My party is completely delusional right now.
Say that he's demeaned half the country. First of all, it's 74 million people that voted for Donald Trump, and he is explicit every time he talks about the MAGA movement to say that this is a subsection of the Republican Party, which is borne out in elections when you see people voting against Donald Trump. And this idea that
but what about the people voting for him? What about the people voting for him? He gives teleprompter speeches. I mean, you have to understand that it's...
but he is talking about insurrectionists. No, he is. No. Why is he talking about January 6th? And he says MAGA like it's a swear word, instead of a slogan. If you get called regularly, and which Democrats do, thugs, he's the commander-in-chief, pedophiles, why can't he call the border a crisis while he's denigrating and castigating Americans? No, the voters are talking about that, Jessica. But because this point is about demeaning voters. The president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, went to Philadelphia a year and a half ago with a Marine posted behind him. I saw. And gave a decidedly political speech where he insulted a large part of the country. And I've said many times on this network, and I'll say it again tonight, if people, a lot of people, spend a fraction of the time that they spend obsessing over Donald Trump, the person, learning one thing about the Trump voter, things may be very different. This is Joe Biden's version of Hillary's deplorable and irredeemable.
Conway, as usual, is exactly right. Remember that speech there where Joe Biden, I think that was the last truly lucid speech that he had, at least until the State of the Union, where he got up and addressed the nation, and that's where the Dark Brandon meme was born. You know, the one where there was a weird red pillar behind him and a Marine on the other side, and then Joe Biden is angrily pointing out into the crowd that didn't exist that the MAGA movement was evil, these people were basically deplorable, they're vile, they are not redeemable. That was his basket of deplorables moment. That was the full mask off. Because Joe Biden, this is the reality, behind the scenes, at least before his mind really started to go, about a year and a half into his term, was throwing fits behind the scenes, wondering, why don't Americans love me more? Well, it's a bit complicated, but I'll try to boil it down for you, Joe. You still think for some reason that you're this 90s, early 2000s Democrat who thinks that maybe we need to rein in corporations. Our spending's bad, but cutting taxes, I don't think that's the right idea, but we definitely need to protect the worker from illegal immigrants. Well, now the Democrat Party is in bed with the corporations, much more so than the Republicans ever were. There's a reason why they outraise Republicans about 4, 5, sometimes 6 to 1, and a lot of these come from these mega corporations and their super PACs. Hey, y'all, This is a shout out to my friends over at Colonial Metals Group, where CEO Paul Stone and his expert associates fully understand the gravity of our current situation and want to protect your wealth backed by gold, silver, and other precious metals. Folks, we are in an era of record inflation. We have a Congress that won't stop spending and a president who doesn't even know what planet he's on. That's how bad the situation is, and that's why I'm partnering with Colonial Metals Group. And if you have a first-time account with these fine upstanding people, you will receive up to $7,500 worth of silver, a nice old safe to keep all the good stuff in. You will get Roth IRA accounts for free backed by gold and silver, and insurance and warranty on these items for 5 years, all for free. So call the number below or check out the link in the description and let CEO Paul Stone and his expert team help you now, because your wealth might evaporate before your very eyes. Protect your wealth, protect your family, protect your future with Colonial Metals Group today. Now, back to regularly scheduled programming. You think that they understand that Citizens United is a bad thing, but then they just take the money anyways. That is the mark of a hypocrite. So the three things I just outlined, protecting the American worker by stopping illegal immigration, not being in bed with corporations, and at least saying that maybe raising taxes is a good thing. Well, now they're full on raising taxes is a good thing, and we've seen that it doesn't work time and time again. I just said that they're in bed with the corporations more than they ever were, and they've allowed a flood of illegal immigrants to come over our borders and just pour on more and more pressure onto places that need the pressure off. The black community in the inner cities have recognized that their spaces have been taken from them, that resources have been taken from them. They're mad. They are mad. This isn't the traditional MAGA movement, which I need to pivot to here. The traditional MAGA movement, I'm going to be honest, is a straight white Protestant, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, the old WASPs, basically. Although that's not entirely true. See, there are 5 parts of the Republican Party. There's what I call the chamberists. These are the people who plug their fingers in their ears and say, we don't want the culture war, shut up and listen to us, let us just make money. Then there are the solutionists. These are your Newt Gingriches, these are your John Kasichs, and currently, surprisingly enough, Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis is sort of a unicorn throughout that movement, but they're the ones that want to reform the system slowly, correctly, and smartly as best as they can without rocking the boat. These two people often work with the chamberists. They don't usually work with the evangelicals, and that's where Ron DeSantis is a little bit different. Your evangelicals want to, I don't want to say the word theocracy, but they're the anti-abortion group. They're the religious part of the Republican Party, about 20%, but they no longer really exist anymore. They've either joined the solutionists outright, or they've become part of the Jacksonian movement. That's your populist movement. That's basically Donald Trump in a nutshell. Back in 2016, when they were running through the primary, Ted Cruz was trying to join these two groups together. He was trying to join the Tea Party people with the evangelicals. He made the inroads, but Trump beat him at his own game. And thus, Trump basically united the two. And then you have your libertarians, who have seeped more and more into the Republican space again. They used to be cast out. But after their stupid decision to nominate a complete moron, again, although this one's even weirder, we're starting to see these libertarians now start wondering, Trump sounds like a viable option now. So those are the 5 main wings of the Republican Party. It's technically just 3 now, but because the libertarians that are coming in are joining the Jacksonians. And it's really just 2 because the solutionists and chamberists are their own, will often align themselves, but that's not who Ron DeSantis is, so it's really 3. And so what used to be 3 wings of the Republican Party, about a little over half, have been called deplorable. And basically told that to their faces. We've heard from Barack Obama, they cling to their guns and religion. There's just ivory tower looking down, wondering why they're mad that they dumped their chamber pots out. After all, I can't say that. But I can say that Hillary Clinton did the exact same thing. And then Joe Biden did the exact same thing. There's a pattern. When people tell you what they think of you, believe them. I know that's not the real quote, but they do not like you. They despise you. They think that you are part of these ridiculous masses. They think you're the plebs of society, and they call you a basket of deplorables because they really think that about you. This is not an attempt to say why women choose the bear and let's have a discussion. No. This is a you suck, you listen to us. That's a deplorable thing to do. And Tarlov here is trying to bend over backwards, trying to explain away everything. She can't. All right? Charles Payne is not letting her do it, and Kellyanne Conway certainly isn't going to, particularly when she has to cut her teeth on this exact same argument at home with her husband, which now they have divorced over the fact that she supported Donald Trump and he supported his principles that constantly lost. That's something conservatives need to understand. The principles that have led us here have led us nearly to the brink of doom. We might need to start reevaluating a few things, and it's why I'm more willing to accept Donald Trump than any other candidate. I like Ron DeSantis. I think he'd make a great president in 2028. But the reality is this. The momentum is behind Trump. The groups that have any power are now behind Trump. I see no choice. It has to be Donald Trump or 4 more years of this insanity, of this dotard who has to be led around on stage. It is absolutely insanity. Democrats call Republicans deplorable. I call a lot of them delusional. Except Dean Phillips. Good man. That's a man that I can have a beer with because he is skeptical and he's earnest. Those are the kind of politicians that I want to work with, even if they disagree with me on many policy points. That's the kind of politician that we deserve here in America. Democrats, keep nominating people like Dean Phillips. I'm begging you. That way we can actually have a real discussion and help make America reform itself in the country we deserve to be. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on BRAWL. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.